What is going on, guys? And we have the results for my 30-day self-connection challenge. Now today I actually want to do something a little different. Today I actually want to replay some of the videos that I took during this 30-day challenge. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my transformation in this 30 days. So day 2 of my 30-day challenge on self-connection, and I must say I didn't have a lot of thoughts today, but I do feel extremely relaxed. So just a little more insight. Again, I didn't have a lot of ideas, but what I'm doing is I keep a journal right next to me, so if I do have ideas, I write them down, but none of them were, again, very exciting ideas, just generalized stuff. What's going on, guys? So I just finished my 3rd day of my 30-day challenge on self-connection, and I must say, again, very chaotic from the get. That's something I've noticed every time that I've done this session. So I did have a lot of chaos in the beginning of my session, and I have had a lot of different thoughts going on in my mind today, so I think that's where it all is generating from. So I had a lot of noise I had to get through, which took a little bit longer than normal. So I did feel really relaxed again today, and I didn't really notice that when I was doing my meditation. Yes, it cleared up my mind, but I didn't feel as relaxed as I am doing this particular sessions. So that's one thing I do enjoy, especially with so much clutter I had. But the good thing is that I had written some new ideas down, which were again random, and why these particular sessions actually are interesting, because you just have like random ideas that you never thought, right? And just connecting with yourself. So again, I just want to try this out and see how this works. I still got, 20 some days left, and I'm going to continue doing this every day and see how I feel, right? I do like the relaxation, which is something I could really use. So I just finished session 7 of my 30-day challenge, and I felt good, right? I'm actually feeling really relaxed doing this, right? Now, I know I've talked about this before, but I am feeling fantastic. So the session today, again, it started out, I feel like the first 30 minutes, you deal with a lot of just random thoughts, especially what's going on throughout the day, and you just let them go, come and go. Then you start getting into the deeper stuff, like the last 30 minutes. So what actually happened today was I actually started thinking about my father, which is something I haven't really thought about. I've kind of avoided for the most part, but I've actually was able to think about him without being emotional, which I think is the first time. So it might just be the day, I'm not exactly sure, but I can tell that I am a lot more calmer. I feel a lot better doing this as opposed to meditation in itself, just by sitting in silence and just being. So I have been thinking about my father over the past couple months, and again, this is the real time I've really actually been able to look at everything that's happened with his passing and everything, and actually been okay with it, and haven't got emotional where I was down in tears. So I finished session 12 today and my 30-day challenge of self-connection. I'm already thinking about doing 100 days and just going with this, because I have noticed a big difference lately. So doing these sessions, I have noticed, right, that people seem to be a lot friendlier, and I don't know if that's just my face is more relaxed now than it was before. I mean, I've always been a friendly guy, and I'm always, say hi, good morning to everybody that I see and stuff like that. Today, one thing I did notice is there wasn't as much chaos going on, right? Because my first couple sessions, there was a lot of chaos, right? And it was typically just whatever was going on during the day. So really only one particular thought stood out. I didn't have a lot of different thoughts or ideas today, but one particular thought was essentially the meaning of life, right? Like, how do I interpret my life? And I know a lot of people ask this question, and I have asked myself this question every now and again. It's not something that comes up a lot. Actually, it's very far and few in between. So it's kind of weird for that question to come up, because I don't really think about that particular question that often. But I started looking back at my life and really wondering what has been consistent in my life, right? So one thing I've always noticed that's been consistent in my life has always been change. And I've also noticed that if I don't have change after so often, I actually try to seek out change. In seeking out change, I've noticed that some of the best changes in my life have actually been those changes in which I actually took like a leap, right? Were some like really dramatic changes. So what exactly does that equate to, right? As far as the meaning of life? Well, you know, it's hard to say, right? The meaning of life, I think, is different for everybody. Everybody has a different interpretation of it. And, you know, mine is... So I guess my interpretation of that is that life is about change, right? Life is about trying to do better, right? With each change, whatever way that may be. So I just finished session 14, and it is in the books on my self-connection 30-day challenge. And today was a little deeper, I think, than normal, right? More generalized. So one of the main ideas I got out of my session today, or the main idea I should say, was really just about life in general, right? Just contemplating life. So the biggest thing I was just thinking about was just like balance, right? Like there's got to be a good balance in life, and you know, whether that's work, your business, or in life, right? Just trying to be healthy, trying to raise families, whatever you... I think that was like the biggest thing, right? Is with balance, like you can't do too much of one thing, right? Too much of anything, I think, is a bad thing, right? No matter if you play too much or if you work too hard. I think I myself, you know, I get in this phase where I just work, and I fail to find that balance, right? And it kind of reflects on all the other sessions I've kind of had, right? Because I've always, you know, felt like I was looking for adventure, right? And I was looking for other outlets to be creative and stuff like that. And maybe that's it. So session 17 of my 30-day challenge, self-connection. And I must say it is late, but I had to get it in. My self-connections have been so important that, you know, again, I've been busy, but I had to make sure that it was in. I got another hour before the new day starts, so I did accomplish that. And I'm very thankful for that, because again, I've been feeling fantastic during these sessions. You know, it's always important to do those things you say you're going to do and improve on that, right? So today, as far as like thoughts and ideas, you know, I was just really just looking at finding yourself, right? And the journey that I've been on has not been a straight shot into finding myself. And I think for many years I've kind of just really lost touch and tried to fill it with other different things, other different aspects. But now I could say doing these sessions, like I've really become more fine-tuned into who I am and what I want and what I'm doing. So day 20 on my 30-day self-connection challenge, and I must say today was a very interesting day. So whatever reason, I had this random thought of underneath the grit. Now, what does this thought mean? I started thinking about it, right? What, under any person that you know, right? Any entrepreneur, anybody out there that's always striving for more in their life, what is underneath? What drives them? It's like this self-discovery, right? It's like understanding that there's some fuel within that is ignited, that is allowing them to press forward no matter what and strive beyond what it seems like normal people do, right? A lot of times in life, you know, it tries to help us find that spark. It has these major catastrophic events in our life to help us discover that, right? And to allow us to use that as fuel to go out and get those things that we want. And so like today, that thought, that idea just really stuck in my head, like, man, you know, what does it take for someone to achieve those things, right? And then so I just started thinking about it more and more, and just my mind started going crazy. Like, what has led me to this point, right? Like, I've been through so much of my life as a young kid, you know, I've been through a lot, and as a teenager, as a, you know, an adult. We all have our own journey. We all have, you know, our own destination at hand, and you can change that destination, or you can, you know, alter that destination. And you typically do that is if you can find that, right? Discover what ignites you. And so again, this thought, this idea, it's just really resonating with me today. And it feels good, right? Like, it wants me to dig deep, like what is really driving me. Now, can I find that one thing that helps me drive and share that with other people and help them find their drive, help them create grit, help them, go after the things in life that they want. And that's ultimately, I think, where that is coming from. So day 24, my self-connection challenge. And I must say, I am really feeling at peace with myself. So I'm really feeling at peace with myself. And that's something I can't say I have really ever felt, right? Like, my energy feels like at a different level. I know that's hard to say, and although, again, I've tried meditation, I've never felt this energy, right? Like, you really do, when you just be, you really feel the energy, and it's really hard to describe. But these sessions have definitely improved my life, right? Like, they really keep me present. And for whatever reason, maybe I wasn't doing meditation right, and I do talk about meditation a lot, but these sessions are different. Day 26 of my self-connection challenge, and I am feeling good, right? I am, again, feeling at peace. I am feeling extremely relaxed. In this session, like all the rest, are really my time to be, really my time to enjoy the time for myself. And I have been looking forward to every single day, looking forward to that hour I get for myself, and I'm really just appreciating that time and really looking for enlightenment, right? And really looking for that peace that I've been missing for so long. And again, these sessions are truly helping with that. And even though the 30-day challenge is coming up and it will be over and I will do my results for YouTube and everything like that, I'm incorporating this in my life, in my daily habits, right? It is that enjoyable, and I look forward to 6 months. I'm looking forward to the year, 2 years, many more years to come. But that's just the thing, right? Like, I didn't really have a lot of ideas today. Today was more just that kind of relaxed. Now, I did have a lot of chaotic thoughts just because it's being Christmas tomorrow and just having a bunch of different ideas. So I've just been trying to clear out that, right? And just kind of just stay being today. So that's really where I was today. Again, no really thoughts, ideas, just enjoying the moment, just enjoying being today. So day 30 of my 30-day self-connection challenge. And I must say, just because my challenge ends today does not mean I will be doing this on a daily, consistent basis. I thoroughly enjoy this time to myself, right? This time to myself has been, phenomenal. And I've learned a lot about myself over the past 30 days. Even one thing I have noticed, even just recording, right, and looking at myself, I can see that I looked like refreshed and re-energized every time I do, these new sessions every hour, every day. And it is, again, really helping. Like, just my demeanor and everything, I think is really changed. And again, I always mention this in all my videos about my energy really changing. And I've noticed that not only is it changing, but I feel like it bleeds over into everything else, right? And the fact that I want to, share this with everybody and let people know that there's this tool in your toolbox that, I think a lot of people fail to understand that it's there. And even myself, right? For the longest time, until this 30-day challenge, I never used this tool. And then I found this tool, and now it's like you don't want to, put it down because it actually helps so much. And that's just it, right? I've never really been a spiritual person. I've never really been a religious person. But to me, it's definitely been, a great journey, right? It's 30 days. And I think it's a tool that we all neglect to see that we have. I mean, I neglected it for, 37 years and some change, right? And so the biggest thing is just to understand, right? Find these tools and actually use them and see what they do, right? And do the 30-day challenge. and I'm actually curious to go see what my next 30-day challenge is, right? Now, this particular self-connection is something I'm going to continue on, right? Because I've learned a lot, and you continue to learn a lot, right? And the more you do it, the more you learn, the more enlightened you get. And so I'm interested to see where I'm going to be at. This has just been 30 days, but I want to see where I'm going to be at, come 3 months down the road, come 6 months down the road, come a year, 5, a decade from now, where I'll be at, right? On this journey, right? Especially with the way I'm feeling. I definitely feel, that peace. And again, the peace didn't really come until, let's say, probably the last week and a half of the 30-day challenge. I really started feeling at peace, and there's you're like in this calm state when you come out of these sessions, which is fantastic. So what do you think? I thought I changed dramatically just from looking at those videos, and also, just going through that experience. I have really found that this has really provided me a lot of peace of mind, just a place to where I feel comfortable, right? I feel good, I feel great, I feel happy, I feel joy, I feel all these different emotions. And I get this energy, right? This passion just to want to go out and do more. And it happens every time I am actually done with these sessions. And like I said in my videos, I'm not done with this challenge. This is something that I'm making a lifestyle change. This is something I've found that has really made a difference in my life. And a lot of times in my life, I've always tried to be physical, right? I've always tried to go out and run or lift weights, something along that nature. Where nowadays I've been more worried about, trying to develop the mental aspect of everything. And I have tried different things like meditation and stuff like that before, but these self-connection challenges have really been helping me, connect to myself, find who I truly am, and find a level of peace that I've never been able to find before. And again, I look forward to these sessions every day. It's almost like that comfort, right? And where we should always be challenging ourselves not to be comfortable, but when you start doing these self-connection challenges, you start really opening yourself up to a lot of different things, right? Nothing seems impossible. And I talk about, looking at those things that seem impossible and know that there is a way to get around it. There's always alternative ways. And if you can, start connecting to yourself, you find that comes a lot easier, right? You find these different perspectives, you find these different angles that you can attack something that you're trying to achieve in life. Doing the research on this self-connection, you really don't lead towards positive or negative. What you really do is you just try to be, right? You don't try to label anything, so that way that your thoughts don't get caught up in that idea and hold on to it, right? Because when you're holding on to something, you spend a lot of energy and a lot of focus on that one thing. But when you just let things be as they are, then you're more apt to be more aware of what's going around you, as opposed to walking down the street and that thought or ideas in your head, and so you don't take in anything else, right? You're just fixated on that thought or idea. And again, it could be positive or negative, so it's always smart to try to not put that filter on everything that comes through, right? And to just be and allow yourself to be in that state, and to allow yourself to be in that self-conscious state, in which if you notice that you're starting to getting stuck on a particular idea, that you can gravitate away from that and understand what you're doing, and understand that you are applying that filter on your life. And so that is one of the biggest things I've learned out of the self-connection. And again, finding my peace, again, being more connected, allowing myself to not be so stressed. I have, over the past 30 days, I think coming into this, I had a lot of different ideas. I didn't know what I was going to do sitting for an hour in silence. Like I stated in my first video, when I first started doing this, the biggest thing was I was worried about that, because I spent a lot of time when I first started doing meditation in general just trying to sit in silence for 5 minutes, and that was nerve-wracking to say the least. And then to come into the full hour was a little, again, nerve-wracking, but as soon as I started doing it, I found it to be easy, right? And then I think that first week and a half, I really got through a lot of just chaos, right? It just, my mind just going through the day's events, and I'm starting to think about every little thing, and it's trying to just silence that noise, right? So one of the books I referenced through my 30-day challenge is the fact that, you want to be able to live a life in which you're not, again, stuck on anything, to allow the flow to come through. And a lot of times you have to be self-correcting, and it's just like anything in life, right? If you want to fix any kind of habits, you always got to be self-aware and start to practice that. When you start practicing that, you can become more self-aware. It's like building that muscle up and allowing yourself to identify when you start thinking about specific things, and then again drift away and correcting yourself on the spot. So starting this challenge was something that I thought would be different, and again, it totally surprised me. I didn't think I would get the results that I received, especially finding a peace, an inner peace that was never there. And coming into this particular sessions, it's actually funny, because I was stressing a lot, and just over all the different things that are going on in my life. I have a bunch of different family issues with, my family having a bunch of heart issues as well, on top of everything with my father passing. And so it's trying to deal with that stress and realizing that I still managed to find peace, right? I found peace in myself and de-stressing myself. Now, working out and all that stuff does help, and it did help temporarily, right? And the same with this, but I feel like it takes more than just the edge off. I feel like it really puts you in a state for a good majority of the day, right? Where if you typically work out, you feel good about an hour or two after that, and then I feel like you kind of slowly, start drifting into that stress again. But nonetheless, this just keeps your mind still, right? It removes a lot of the clutter and the chaos that's going on in there. And I think a lot of us tend to forget how much chaos is going on in there, right? We have like two different voices going on there. This is why I reference Michael Singer's book, because he talks about the two voices a lot. And he's like, the one is that, that good voice, and one is that bad voice. And they are in there, and they do exist, and they are constantly talking to you, right? Even when you're doing these sessions, you find that you try to just be, and it is, when you first start, it is very hard, because that voice doesn't want to be quiet, right? It just wants to keep talking, and it finds tons of things to talk about, right? And again, it talks about random things, and it's just trying to be like, okay, I see what you're trying to tell me, and then just let it go, right? And just let it be, and don't try to identify it. And even still to this day, right after 30 days, I still have that voice. I mean, it's not as chaotic as it was, but I still have to be self-conscious of it, and I still have to say, okay, that's great, that's great that you are bringing this up, but just kind of let that voice just be. And so this is what I've learned over the past 30 days, is that these self-connections, I think, can really help anybody, especially for people that are really going through a tough time. I think self-connection is something that can really help you and can really set your mind at peace, even when there is such chaos going on, outside and inside. I know a lot of times we have a lot of different things in our past that can create a lot of chaos and create a lot of baggage that we hold on to on a daily basis. And externally, people may not think there's nothing wrong with us, but then you go home and you sit with those thoughts, and then you start questioning every little thing that you're doing, and just your environment. It becomes a vicious, nasty, negative cycle. And so this is the biggest thing, right? And this is why I think this could help anybody, especially those people that may be going through tough times. Even if you're going through good times, it's good to start this process on self-connecting and enlightenment, right? Because I believe it plays an important part in anybody's life and should be part of your lifestyle. And I am adapting this into my lifestyle because I feel like it deserves a place in the fact that it allows me to find peace and sometimes a chaotic world. Right now I have eliminated a lot of different things in my life that are chaotic, right? Like things I have no control over, like the news and a bunch of different outside elements, right? I think it's important to only give yourself the things that you need to be concentrating on, right? That you need to set priority in your life, and you can't do that when you have a lot of chaos in your life. And even though I've eliminated a lot of these outside elements, you still find that there's still a lot of chaos within. So doing these self-connections are helping me, get rid of that chaos on the inside as well. And then you can really find a deeper peace when both, external and internal, chaos is being controlled, right? Or very limited. And being aware of when that chaos starts to fester and start to start building up, and then you have to start going after it and trying to fix it, right? Because a lot of us like to temporarily patch things and hope that there's a pill for something, or hope that one day we just hijack our brain into a computer and then just fix everything, when even if those days were to ever happen, they are a long ways away, and probably not, we won't even see it in our lifetime. But the truth of the matter is mental health is a hard thing, and a lot of things that people battle, and a lot of people don't want to admit to it because they figure that mental health is this bad label, and they don't want to be labeled with bad labels. And I agree, I don't agree with labels. Nobody should be labeled anything, but I also believe that what you need to actually do is to find a way to make yourself better, right? Now, if you have issues, if that you have the chaos inside that you need to deal with. And a lot of us would prefer to run. I myself preferred to run for many years, only because I didn't know how to deal with the internal, chaos. It was more dealing with, dealing with it externally. So I'd go work out and stuff like that, and then get that, temporary relief. And so I would be working out a lot. Where this is, again, I do still work out and everything. So I do the external, relief, and then I also do the internal workings. And you find that your chaos starts really dwindling down, and then, you find yourself in a better mood. You find that your vibe is much better. And as you may have seen through the videos, like it's really changed. The first week and a half was a little slow. I started to notice a difference, but then I didn't really start seeing a difference towards the end of that 30 days. And again, I get really excited on what's going to happen in the next 3 months, and what's going to happen next 6 months, a year from now, and a couple years from now, even a decade from now, right? Because enlightenment is a continuous journey. Just like health, just like anything else, it's a lifestyle change, and you do see the benefits along the way. I think that's extremely important, because a lot of us, a lot of these little things, don't seem to be working initially, right? And this is where a lot of people get hung up on the fact that, I've been doing it for a week, I've been doing it for 2 weeks, and I'm just not seeing the results. But the fact of the matter is you have to be consistent. When you start being consistent over long periods of time, you realize that those little consistent steps actually build into this tremendous thing, right? And it's like with your health, it's like with, this enlightenment stage, it's all these different things. They all fall under the same basic principles, right? It's consistency. So as long as you're consistent, you will see progress. It does take time. Nothing is rapid and instantaneous. These things take time. But you find that, if you dedicate that time, you can really see results, and you can really see great results. And then a year, 2 years from now, you won't even recognize who you were a year ago. You were like, why didn't I even incorporate this stuff, many years back? And so that's where I'm at my point in my life, to where I am trying all these different new things. And I'm actually thinking about debating another 30-day challenge. What can I do on my next 30-day challenge that I can, improve my life, whether that's physically or mentally. Now, physically, I think I've pushed myself a lot physically, and I am still wondering what I can do with on that aspect. But I think at this point it's more of a mental thing. What more mentally can I do for 30 days that can really help me? And maybe that's, you know, taking longer breaks on social media. Now I know I do a lot of social media. I do YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter and like that, but you know, maybe it's something like that. I don't know. It's something I have to research a little bit and see what I want to do. And always trying to improve, because I think that's what we're always trying to do, right? Improve our lives. And I think, you know, going into the new year, I think a lot of people need to do this. I think a lot of people need to understand that these are lifestyle changes. When you look at it differently, right? When you look at it under that perspective, you know, you can really make a difference and realize that things won't be the same. And I think that's where we kind of we don't really want to change our routine. We like our routine, but you know, if you really want to see change, your routine has to change into a new routine, a new one that you will enjoy because of the benefits that you get out of it. So I must say, overall, again, this 30 days challenge on self-connection has really paid dividends, right? It's really paid back. The time I've put into it has really shown, right? And it's just a small investment, 30 days. And it is, again, really paid me back. You know, the ROI for this particular challenge was fantastic, and something that is forever changed my life, right? Because this is something I'm gonna continue to do for the rest of my life. And so I hope you guys, you know, take this challenge and challenge yourself for 30 days. Pick something that will improve your life, or something you have no idea, right? Maybe you've heard about something. Maybe it's veganism. Maybe it's self-connection. Maybe it's, you know, just getting healthy in general. Maybe it's learning a new skill. Do something for 30 days to really improve yourselves. Document it and see the progress, because ultimately that's how you do see the progress, is by documenting it. You know, whether that's, you know, through video, through pictures, whatever it is. Maybe you use a voice recorder and just record, hey, this is a journal, day one, you know, this is where I'm at and this is how I feel, and final results. And then go back and look at it, and you can see the difference. You know, whether that's physically, mentally, all these different things play a huge part in it. So again, I hope you guys challenge yourself. I hope you guys enjoy this journey. I don't know if I will be doing any updates on my self-connection. I probably will at some point once I figure that out. I know I have continued on my, you know, self-connection ever since my 30 days has been over. It's been 2 days since then, and I am still doing it every day, and will again continue to do it for the rest of my life, because there are great benefits, and I know anybody out there could create just as great benefits doing self-connection. So if you guys enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, smash that like button, and until next time, I will see you guys later.